Blog Talk Radio.
Sorry. Well.
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show. Ridiculous.
Welcome to the Will and Thunder Show.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome back to the Will and Thunder Show. This is Kevin Thunder, William Telltales around here somewhere. Where you at there, buddy?
What's up?
How you doing, man?
Just chilling out, doing a radio show.
That's right.
I'm doing great. I've been excited about tonight's show and next week's show for a long time, and it's. Basically, we got Chris Long, longtime friend, Dead Serios. He's now author of many nationwide bestsellers.
That's right.
And now shouted out loud after it debuted at #1 on the New York Times.
The rock and roll guru. That's right.
And we've got him, and also he's going to be talking about his book and also his band, Dead Serios, the legendary Dead Serios from Central Florida, is making an incredible resurgence that we may or may not have something to do.
That's right. But it needs to be known. The word needs to get out.
That's right.
The word needs to get out. The Dead Serios, but they might be playing a show or two or something. I don't know. But we'll get with Chris. I mean, it's big news. Big news for the Central Florida fans out there. I'd like to say hi to everybody out there listening, guys. Welcome on in. What you got going on with this little segment we got right now that we call Shenanigans?
Well, it's Shenanigans.
Is it Shenanigans?
Our shenanigans are cheeky and fun.
Yeah, I mean, his shenanigans are cruel and tragic, which makes them not shenanigans at all, really.
I swear to God, I'll pistol whip the next guy that says shenanigans.
Shenanigans! Shenanigans!
You little...
I love that.
Need to drop another quarter in that video game.
Oh, man.
Well, here we are. There's so much to talk about. Look, right before we started the show, I was looking up on some news things. I got to get this out there first. Couple driving in Ohio somewhere, stops at a McDonald's drive-thru and orders a couple cheeseburgers. They go down the road, take a couple bites of cheeseburgers. Between the two patties, somebody spiked them with weed.
Okay, is that a bonus or is that something that they were pissed off about?
Well, they were pissed off about it, so they went back and the cops said it looks like it is traces. They said I don't know how far along the investigation gone, but I mean, can you imagine now? Just first of all, have you never done drugs in your entire life?
No, wait.
Never done anything.
Don't even look at it from that perspective. And I have a little anecdotal story to tell about that, about a personal experience of mine. Anyway, forget about all that. Who the hell wastes weed on a stranger?
That's right. Like, here, we're gonna get them. Why are you kidding me? But yeah,
anyway,
it's like
but yeah,
can I get the McBuzz burger? I mean, I don't know.
But what I was talking about, my anecdotal story is years ago, my brother had a pizza restaurant, and I was an assistant manager for him, and my brother is a big pothead, so. And he had a couple of his friends working with him, working there too, and of course they were also big potheads. Well, one of his friends one day brought in some brownies, and me, I don't smoke pot. I do not smoke pot. I've smoked pot maybe 5 times in my 40 some odd years of existence. So but I'm not really big on sweets either. So the woman's like, "Would you like some brownies?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." They're good brownies. I'm like, "I'm sure they are." Yeah, okay, great. No, they're really good. I was like, "Okay, fine, give me a fucking brownie, goddamn." So I grabbed the brownie out of the thing and I ate it. Didn't think anything.
Yeah.
Of it. So I'm not a pothead. I don't think about these things. It took my brother 5 years to say, to ask me, "Hey, Will, do you remember when so-and-so brought in those brownies and you didn't want one, but then you grabbed one?" Like, "Yeah." Like, "Those were special brownies." I'm like, "Oh, man, really?"
I was wondering what the heck was going on.
No, I didn't remember. And I said, "Well, how is it, how was I performing the rest of the night?" Because I was driving for him that night. And he's like, "Well, you were just kind of in your own little world. Nobody said anything. And we're just glad you made it home and all that stuff. And we just kind of kept it quiet." I'm like, "Okay, you thanks a lot, bro."
It'd be great to get pulled over that evening, Instead of going, "Oh, you know what, Bill, why don't you have the night off? Go ahead and go home, It's going to be all right. We're kind of slow tonight." No, we're going to let you drive.
Yeah.
And deliver pizzas for our company. Have fun with that one.
But the funny thing is I had long hair at the time. That was when our band Madstone was really going strong, and
right.
And everybody assumed that I smoked pot because my brother did. I looked like a pothead. I really did. I looked like a pothead. I had drugs all around me all the time, and I stayed away from them. My two vices were alcohol and nicotine, and I've dropped the nicotine. So,
right, I understand. Well, see, and on that aspect right there, that image thing of, people thinking you're a pothead because of the way you look, I'm the same way. You know me as well. I mean, we hung out all the time, and that we didn't do that. I mean, it just wasn't our thing. We drank some beers, we jammed in a jam room and drank some beers. None of us smoked pot. I mean, it wasn't our thing. But, I mean, still to this day, because I have a shaved head and a goatee and I got tattoos, every time I get a new job, whenever you start hanging out with, yeah, I mean, you start hanging out with people, you have a couple beers, I'm like, "Oh, he's cool, man. Oh, you want to go smoke some weed?" No. Thanks anyway.
Well,
oh, you don't smoke? No.
Well, my brother, when he finally 5 years later told me what happened, he said he's like, after you took a delivery out, I told her that you didn't smoke pot, and she's like, "What? Will doesn't smoke pot?" And he said, "No, he drinks like a fish, but he doesn't smoke pot." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. What should we do?" And she's all flipping out and everything. Did she have the estrogen to come up and tell me? Bill, the decency. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Say, "Hey, I just gave you a spiked brownie." But anyway, luckily, it all turned out fine and everything. And I
was just trying to talk about a couple cheeseburgers here. I didn't mean to go on a 20-minute spiel. You sure you don't have any of those brownies with you now? Man have mercy. Well, guys, welcome to the William Telltale Show. Today we're talking about brownies. We'll have a couple recipes at the end of the show for you. If you want to, come and check it out, just go to our website. We'll have them written down for you, all righty now? Goodness gracious.
I'm sorry, but still, that was a story that
I
didn't mean to hide.
I was just busting your balls. It's okay, don't worry, but that's all I was going to say, You can go to McDonald's now and get, your cheeseburger fix.
No,
burgers cost $10 now, so.
this isn't a story if you're in Colorado or Seattle or Washington State.
No, they have vending machines there now.
Yeah.
Literally, they have vending machines. You go up with your little medical card, you zip your card, and then you zip your ID, and then you zip your credit card. Out the bottom falls out a brownie or a...
No, you can go into a store and ask for a pack of Marlboro Greens in Colorado and Washington State.
Hey now.
Philip Morris started, because it's legal there. Philip Morris started making Marlboro Green, and it's
really are they filtered?
I don't know. That's a good question.
A filtered joint? Like
it kind of defeats the purpose, doesn't it?
Let me pack these. What the hell? Well, okay then.
Filtered joint kind of defeats the purpose, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's the most popular word of the 60s and 70s. Ear. That's right. Anyway, I guess that's enough about some marijuana. What else we got going on in the news today?
Do you remember that little segment on the Saturday morning cartoon, In the News, where they have this little, in the news, blah, 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 blah. But there was this weird psychedelic little intro they had for it. I need to find that and use it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
But then again, none of our younger listeners would get it.
I understand that. But it's a lot of that age group we're in right now. We're in our 40s, mid 40s. It's like that, especially at work now. I used to be the young guy. Now all of a sudden I'm the older guy, and I have kids, so I kind of keep up, with music and the things of the younger generation. I'm still attuned to it, but they have no idea of when we were kids, what was funny,
right.
What was cool. Saturday Night Live skits that were really funny compared to the dumb stuff they do now.
Yeah, I mean,
you try to relive those things, and I'm like, oh yeah. You weren't born yet. Yeah,
people will go online or on YouTube and watch the Christopher Walken's "No More Cowbell" skit. Well, I saw it live. Damn it! Yeah,
exactly. Well, that's like I saw this thing online, which is the funniest thing I've ever heard. Us being a music-based show, God love it, Paul McCartney. All right, he's awesome. He put this, it's one of those memes up there, and it shows Paul McCartney. He says, "Yep, my grandkids keep bragging how they're whipping my ass on Guitar Hero, and then I have to sit them down and remind them that I wrote the song in the first place."
Yeah, I wrote a blog piece a couple weeks ago about Guitar Hero and how much it sucks. My blog, williamtelltale.blogspot.com. Cha-ching! But I mean, I used that meme in that blog.
Oh, you did? Okay, you know what I'm talking about then. But yeah, and all you guys out there, look, if you play Guitar Hero, you're not a musician. I just want to let you know that.
You're a grown man playing with toys. That's what you are.
Put on your big boy pants and go out to the pawn shop and get your guitar and learn how to strum on it. That's how you become a guitar player. You don't push red and green, yellow buttons.
Well, I mean, unless there's red, green, yellow buttons on the body of the guitar, not the head or not the neck.
Right. There's strings on a real guitar, buddy, not buttons.
Yeah, and
there are sometimes there's buttons and switches, but.
And you can go all the way up to the 24th fret too, not just the bottom 5 frets. Although it does serve a purpose, though. I mean, I don't like it because the knuckleheads that play it think that they're actual musicians. But
well, you know what? But if Spinal Tap was remade, they'd have Guitar Hero in there, and they'd add an extra button. You say, yeah, my button's black. No one else has a black button. No one else. Just me.
It would be a black button, and it would also, it would also have something to do with the number 11.
Absolutely, it would be on the 11th fret.
Yeah, you'd have your 5 buttons
right
down there at the top, at the bottom of the neck.
But
then on the 11th fret, you would have the black button.
That would play the solo for you. So you wouldn't be a wanker. Anyway.
You know what? They're the people that play Guitar Hero and think that they're actual musicians, they're not even wankers. They're not even good enough to
That's right. You know what they level up to, in my opinion?
Huh?
The people that you see in the music store or the pawn shop that picks up a guitar and strums the little bit of strings above the nut to make the Friday 13th sound.
Well, actually, those people usually have a little bit of talent. You know, these people that play guitar. You know how you can tell if somebody picks up a guitar, one of those Guitar Hero toys, and you know how you can tell if they're a good musician or not? If they suck at it.
They'll fake playing it. Yeah, exactly. I can't do it.
I've never tried it.
I've tried it once or twice now.
I mean, I'm not saying that I won't try it. I mean, I've just never had the opportunity to, and I would like to try it, you know, and I'd like to be around a bunch of nerds who are really good at it, and you know, when they hand it to me, I'll start playing it the way it's supposed to, or at least trying to. And they'll be like, "No, you're doing it wrong, man." No, I'm not.
Hold on a second. Let me go get some. Let me show you how it's really done.
Well,
no, I don't want to plug it to a TV.
There's a South Park episode about that where, you know, Stan's father actually brings out a Les Paul and an amp and starts playing "Carry On My Wayward Son." They're like, "No, you're lame, Dad. Go away." And he's got a freaking Gibson Les Paul.
Nice.
Anyway, we got to
talk about all the talk last week. Yes, I think we're going the same direction here.
Well, First off, we have to touch on something that's very near and dear to my heart. And Casey Kasem is missing, and he's really old, and he's got advanced Parkinson's, and he's missing. And we hope that that they find him safe and sound.
Yeah, from what I understand, his new wife, or his newest wife, whatever, has taken and she's putting him in different medical facilities around here and there. And actually, his daughter has custodial rights to him right now, you know, to look over him and take care of him.
Right.
So this is kind of a big thing. And, you know, I really haven't, you know, we haven't heard much about Casey Kasem in a long time, you know, for years.
He's one of these people like Dick Clark that you just assume would live forever.
That's right.
I mean, because he was Shaggy back in the 60s on Scooby-Doo, and I'm sure he had bits before that.
Oh yeah, well you remember, you know, him with, you know, doing the radio thing and, you know, the music countdown, stuff like that.
Top 40. He would sit there. He'd be like, now it's time for the long distance dedication.
He sounded pretty. That was pretty close right there. That was actually pretty close.
Or what was even worse? Well, I mean, it wasn't bad. I mean, it was cheesy.
No, I mean, right, but you know, of his time, it was good.
And here's some reader mail. Dear Casey.
Yeah, you know.
What was...
It was like rock and roll, Dear Abby.
What was Tom... I really loved the song Refugee by Tom Petty. How did he get that? I mean, and then how did that song come to be? And he just come up with some freaking, you know, whacked out story about something inconsequential. Like, well,
also prayers out to you.
Well, it goes like this. Mary from Seattle. Tom Petty was driving down the highway one day, and
he's walking down the boulevard.
Well, my scenario involves a car. He
was driving down the highway
one day, and he went and he came to an intersection that he needed to turn right on, and he switched his turn signal to turn right, and the turn signal had a beat, and that beat later became Refugee.
But you know the funny thing is, you know, I saw a post online the other day, and it showed the foot switch on a floorboard of a car, and at our age, you remember having your bright lights on the floor. And my wife comes in and goes, "Oh, you remember these?" I'm like, "Yeah." We just show that to a kid nowadays. That's like the kids will also never understand the sound of a real blinker. Now it's like, back then it was like click, clock, click, clock, click, clock, click. Look, oh man.
It sounded like you were beating on an empty beer can with a drumstick.
Man, look, I swear to you, it was like you had an Oompa Loompa under the hood with a hammer. I'm like, this is crazy. But yeah, I mean, they won't know those things. Like, they won't know what a phone booth is. I mean, me and you as kids, man, we'd be out riding bikes, doing whatever we want to do, or, out in the car driving, and parents would all right, call us at 8 o'clock. And we have to seriously go, all right, where's the phone booth? Find a payphone. Yep. That was before the cell phone era. Us kids will never see that. You can pull into a rest stop in the middle of, like, Utah.
With the resurgence of Doctor Who, with the police box and everything, these younger people and everything, if they see a picture of a phone booth, they're like, dude, is that the TARDIS, man?
Oh, it's a time machine. That's a time machine. I'm like, no, it's a phone booth. Superman changes there. Superman changes there. That's a phone booth. We're not in England, Doctor. What? Get out of here. Go drink some tea and eat a crumpet or something. That's Superman's changing room right there. That's where you call your mom. Come on now. But yeah, I mean, you can pull into a rest stop in the middle of nowhere in Utah, and there'd be an old payphone there, and my kids would be like, "Is that a video game? It's got a quarter slot." Get out! Just shut up right now and get away from me. Just go right now. You can't handle it. And that's in a transition I'm in right now. It is hitting the 40 mark and all of those things. And you never think you're going to be your parent. You're never thinking that like, oh yeah, you didn't know how bad we had it.
Your parents.
And I am. I'm looking back and I'm like, oh, dang, how did I become my dad? What's going on here? And here we are. As a matter of fact, one of the worst things in the world happened to me the other day at work. These people I hang out with and talk with and have fun with at work, we're talking about age and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I'm 41. And this girl's like, oh, I didn't realize you were that old. I'm like, thanks, I appreciate that. That kind of hurt, but okay. And she's like, oh, I was born in 1992. I'm like, I graduated high school in 1991. She's like, oh, you're old enough to be my dad. I just shut up and walk away from me.
One time when I was living in Chattanooga, I was working at a camera store, and there was this 19-20-year-old girl that was working there and everything, and I was had a pretty good working relationship with her. I mean, we joked back and forth and everything, and then one day I said something funny, and she just and at the time I'm still like 35 years old, 34, 35, something like that, right. And all of a sudden she breaks out like, "You're so funny. You remind me of my dad." I'm like, "You fucking, I hate you."
Exactly.
Don't ever talk to me.
It hits you. That's right. It's like, thanks. That really, And the other thing is, as a bartender.
Oh, I told my mom about it. I told my mom about it later that night, and
she just laughed.
And she, oh man, I don't think she ever laughed that hard in her life.
And that's it, and it's like, you kind of, I'm standing back like, look, when did all this happen, It was like a blink of an eye. Now watching my kids growing so fast, and, I understand, but damn, it was like,
well, my 4-year-old daughter knows how to use the computer, find whatever the hell she's looking for on YouTube. 4 years old. 4 years old, I was eating dirt.
Oh, yes. Exactly. Literally. Things have changed that much, technologically wise. You're right. And just to look back at our lives back then, it's just funny because, anyway, these kids aren't going to see these things. And, when you're trying to explain it to them, they look at you like you looked at your parents. Like, I'm trying to show my kids.
We stream with Netflix. We stream with Netflix. We don't have cable here.
Right.
We stream with Netflix and stuff like that. Well, my daughter knows how to say, hey, pause that for me. And so she'll run up there, she'll pause it, and then she's like, let me know when you want to start again, Daddy.
Well, the thing is, what? When we were kids, if you had to go to the bathroom during a movie that was on TV, you're missing the movie.
Exactly.
The kids don't know. They don't know that pain anymore. And then on top of that, you remember, we had like 4 channels.
Yep.
Unless you went to the UHF where you had to turn the dial 99 times. Oh, yeah, exactly. Sound like a machine gun. And you try to explain this to the kids, and then when you're explaining this to the kids, you kind of hear in the background, your parents saying, oh, yeah, you remember this? Oh, this is how we used to have to do this. We had to do this. And you're like, no, I'm never going to be like that. I am doing it right now. What am I doing? You never have to worry about the UHF. You're good, all right? Anyway, I'm sorry. We're going on tangents. Wow.
Yeah. But I do want to, we've got 5 minutes to hash out this topic. We just kind of have to do it.
Yes.
In an NFL draft,
Johnny Manziel, he fell and finally they picked him up.
The Browns. I feel sorry for Blake Bortles. I mean, I wish Johnny Manziel had gone to Jacksonville. Blake Bortles is like probably the best quarterback in the draft, and he got stuck in Jacksonville, like the worst franchise ever known to man.
Right.
Poor guy.
Now,
but what we need to talk about.
One thing with Johnny Manziel, though, real quick, hold on one second. Johnny Manziel. Funny thing about Johnny Manziel, he played for Texas A&M. Has the big T on there in the A&M, right? You know he does the money symbol because they were trying to bust about that. Mm-hmm. Greatest thing ever. Johnny Manziel said, "Yeah, I got money. What do you think the ATM on the side of the helmet means?"
That's awesome. I hadn't heard that.
Rock on, Johnny. Rock on, Johnny.
Maybe I have a little bit more respect for him. I still think he's going to be a bust, though.
He probably will be, but we'll see what happens.
But the elephant in the room here is Michael Sam. Yeah, and we're going to go there. And you know what? I'm not a homophobe. I could care less what gay people do. But when they showed that clip of him and his boyfriend, making out when he got picked by the St. Louis Rams, it was just, it was nauseating. And,
I understand what you're saying here, but here, let me say my piece real quick. Okay, look, if it had been just a hug and a quick kiss, I didn't see it. From what I understand, I guess it was a little more than just a little peck or whatever. But he has every right to do that, just like every other player has a right to kiss their mom or their girlfriend or their wife.
Sure. But you know what? If
there's a line. There's a line
if somebody's
too.
making out in front of me, I don't want to see it. I don't care if they're gay. I don't care if they're straight. I don't care if they're two earthworms. Get a freaking room.
Right. There's a difference in a loving embrace and showing out.
Right, but the thing is, when was the last time that on day 3 of the draft they had cameras set up at anybody's house?
Oh, I know.
Never.
Well,
he was
one of those things.
Like probably about 15 or 20 picks away from being Mr. Irrelevant.
I understand that, but listen here. Okay, and you know as well as I do, you got to go back in time and understand that certain situations do bring extra attention. Think about.
Well, that's true.
Right, what was that movie? Hold on. The movie 42. Have you seen the movie 42?
I have not. Not yet.
The baseball movie?
I want to see it.
If you watch that movie, it's the same kind of thing going on, just in a different light. You got the first African American player come into play in segregated baseball, and okay, I understand that. Okay, and you know what? Live your life how you want to live your life, but of course it's going to be sensationalized. It was sensationalized then. It's sensationalized now.
Right. Well, there were people. There were people saying that Michael Sam probably won't even make the team, and if he gets cut, if he gets cut, all of the gay rights, just like that guy Chris Klug that punter from the Vikings a few months ago. Well, actually, during last football season, he wasn't gay, but he's like a huge gay rights activist and everything. He's like saying that he got fired from the Vikings because he was a gay rights activist. No, he got fired from the Vikings because he sucked.
Well, here's the deal. To be honest with you, I really don't think if he doesn't make a team, it'll go that far because as a football fan, honestly, he's a decent player, but he's situational. He's only good in certain schemes. He's a 1-2 down player, maybe.
Right.
His coverage isn't good. He's no good against the run. He's good against the pass rush. But I think it's bigger And I know it's sensationalizing everything. That's what it's all about. But it's going to come down to it because it doesn't matter. The NFL, when it comes to a coach in the NFL, he's worried about his job too. He's not so much worried about hurting this guy's feelings.
Well, I
he's
like
got to
Jeff
win.
Fisher. I like Jeff Fisher.
Oh yeah.
And
so
I really don't think that that Jeff Fisher said, "Hey, let's bring in." I think that was a GM decision since he played for Missouri.
Well, maybe not. Maybe they wanted him to say, "Look, man, all right, we have a spot here. This is what we need to fill. We need this specialized player. We need someone whose situation that can handle this and handle that. When we get on a third down situation where we know that they're going to throw, and this guy's really good at it, we could use him in this situation. Blah 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 blah. Let's go ahead and give him a shot. Let's see what goes on." I don't think, honestly, as much went into the thinking of getting him or not getting him had to do with him coming out. I don't think that had as much a part to do as the media makes it out to be. I think these are professionals. That's what they do. They know football. They live football.
Against Michael Sam. I have nothing against Michael Sam. It's the media that and you know what? Michael Sam could have the skills of Reggie White, and or he could be he could be a bust or whatever. I don't care. I judge a man on his merit and how good he is at what he does,
right,
and his personality. And ironically enough, that's what Martin Luther King Jr. wanted everybody to do. Well, that's what I do. I don't look at somebody and say, "Hey, there's a black man." I look at somebody and say, "Hey, what's up, man?"
There's a man.
But
you do something wrong, I'm not going to talk with you. I'm not going to associate with you. If you do good, look, you're my buddy. And I understand.
I'm
the same way. But what I'm saying is,
I really don't. If I got drafted by an NFL team, maybe the NFL isn't the best excuse. Let's say I get a job at one of these, big corporate stores like Walmart or something like that, and let's say that, me and a coworker are dating, and maybe they don't have a policy against, fraternization or whatever, but let's say me and my coworker girlfriend are making out on the clock and everything. We would get fired for sexual harassment and all that stuff. And but if two gay people were doing it, they would, in one of these big, and maybe Walmart's not the best example either. But
no, I understand what you're saying, but I mean, the thing is, it's not like he was on the clock. He wasn't working. I mean, and I understand the situation you're talking about right there. And it is, first of all, the media had sensationalized it way before this even happened. And they did it all the way up into there because you're right. Well, how long or, when else would you see them covering the draft that deeply? He was drafted in the 7th round? Almost, 200, who knows? He was drafted way late. It was 7th round sometime. But the point of the matter is it's going to be, it's the quote first. So, it's going to, and the sad part about it is, you know what? It's people that tune their TVs to TMZ and, watch these shows about these, this bullshit stuff that, creates this sensationalism.
Oh yeah, and that's what I have a problem with. I don't, some people might call me a homophobe because I'm talking out against this. No, I have nothing against, gay people. Do whatever, just don't shove it in my face. Don't, I don't care. I don't care, and and for ESPN to go all out like they did was, it was stupid.
Well, even when we were kids, you remember going through the grocery store, and what's at the grocery store right there? It's just magazine racks full with the Inquirer and all that kind of, just garbage media, and now they have publications that look like real magazines, like, Us Weekly or whatever, those magazines that are up other. It's not so much, just the Inquirer anymore. They have magazines that look like real magazines. But it's the same thing. It's just bull crap. Oh, this person's getting divorced. This celebrity ate their mom. Or, some of them, that's how outrageous it is.
The celebrity ate their mom. Let's end this on that note, and let's go ahead and play some Dead Serios because our guest has arrived.
Let's rock out with some Dead Serios. Absolutely.
The song we're going to kick it off with is a classic from the legendary band from Central Florida. I'm going to try and do this in a Casey Kasem voice.
Go ahead. Look, I would die if you get it right. Go ahead.
Yeah, me too. Welcome back to the countdown. Next, we have a great band, Dead Serios, the legendary rockers from Central Florida. Okay, I'm killing it. Anyway,
you're dying. But anyway,
this is Who's on Oprah by the legendary Dead Serios, and when we come back, we'll have him on the air with us.
Good God! When things are slow and I'm feeling low and I've got no place to go, I tune in Oprah on TV. She's my favorite host. She's got Dr. Loyalty. She tells it like it is. Said she lost 100 pounds. How to fix the biz. Yeah. Who's on Oprah? Let's all see. Who's on Oprah? Who could it be? Who's on Oprah? Got nothing to reality. Who's on Oprah? I hope someday it might be me. She helps your wife lead a better life with the help of expert guests. That chick's clever and so do I, but I punch her left and chest. She helps mommy, daddy, no problems she can face. Got her name tattooed right on my butt. The credit to her race. Yeah. Huh. Who's on Oprah? Let's all see. Who's on Oprah? Who could it be? Who's on Oprah? Got nothing to reality. Who's on Oprah? I hope someday it might be me. Take it down now. Who's on Oprah? Let's all see. Who's on Oprah? Who could it be? Who's on Oprah? Got nothing to reality. Who's on Oprah? I hope someday it might be me. Shut the fuck up!
All right, welcome back to the Wool and Thunder Show. That was the legendary Dead Serios, featuring our guest Chris Long on vocals, and he's here with us right now. What's going on, man?
I'm just honored to finally have had Casey Kasem intro one of my songs.
It's been a long time coming. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah, I closed my eyes. I thought it was the real deal for a second. So kudos on that.
So I should have kept going, huh?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You had me riveted.
Well, as long as we can fulfill a dream of yours, it's the least we can do for all that you've done for us, Chris.
Sure,
Absolutely.
sure. Hey, I just want to say your boy Brian did a tremendous job last week in thought. I do have to admit that I'm happy that Thunder's back this week.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah,
you're one of those guys. We talk about you when you're around, but we really miss you once you leave the room.
I understand that. I would have it no other way. I'd have it no other way.
So, I
Chris,
have to ask. Go ahead.
I was in doing some show prep last night. I was looking around, and I actually found another version of Who's on Oprah.
Really?
And I don't know if this was like an alternate reality or something like that. I don't know what it was, but do you want to hear it?
I'm dying to hear this.
All right, here we go.
I am too.
You know, I do recall that version, recording that. I can't believe it leaked out, though. You've got to...
Did you have a premonition? You must have had a premonition all those years ago.
I must have been
that you would be here one day. That's right. You had one of those brownies and you saw the future, and here we are now. Look,
yeah,
it was meant to be. It was meant... Someone has a plan.
I was thinking about something the other day. I got to tell you guys, you two guys are like my Tuesday night obsession. I mean, you're about as
well, thank you.
Unrefined and politically incorrect as it gets, but doggone it, you guys are sort of like a radio version of a really bad pile-up. It's a horrible accident, but I just...
But you gotta look. You gotta look.
I gotta look.
You can't. That's right. You know, it's one of those things. You want to turn away. You want to turn away, but you're looking through your fingers. That's us.
I want to turn on Glee, but I just can't. I got to turn on Will and Thunder show. And,
well, I'm glad that we're saving you from that horrendous TV show. At least we're doing something good.
Well, you know, and that made me. The more I've listened to the show, there's something about Will's voice that sounds familiar, and I think I put it together. And help me out on this, Will, if you can. When I worked at the record store 25 years ago, are you the kid that used to call and prank call me every afternoon at the record store and ask me about Ozzy and Motley Crue and Stryper and all that ridiculous stuff?
Yeah, very
I think you're busted.
Oh, man.
He got you.
True confession time now, Will.
Okay, let me... he's right, though, Thunder. I did.
Okay, well, explain this to me.
I was like 14 or 15 years old, and this is while I was still living with my mom. God rest her soul.
My mother... I hope you weren't on the streets that early.
Oh, damn. My mother... you know, kind of sheltered me and whatever, and so I was sitting at home bored. I had to come home right straight after school, and I had to I had to find something to do. So our man here, Chris, was working at the Tape Deck, which was one of the most legendary record stores in Melbourne. Like, well, hell, it's like the most legendary record store that I've ever been to, anyway.
It's what they based every record store and every movie off of. So just to let you guys know.
Yeah, pretty much.
I sold 8-tracks, bongs, and circus tickets to everybody in town for years.
And you know what? You said 8-tracks. I was going to bring up cassette tapes like nobody would know what they were. And you go even further back to the 8-track. Oh, yeah.
Well, anyway, so he had this concert line. I'd call it up every day to find out who was coming. Occasionally, my mom would let me go see a concert and everything, but I mean, I would call him up, and I remember when the In God We Trust Stryper album came out. I called up and I asked this poor gentleman right here what what they looked like on the album cover. Oh man,
a couple girls.
And now the funny thing is,
we had such an array of idiots that would call the record shop every afternoon, but on a regular basis. But for some reason, Will, you just stood out amongst the competition.
Well, it's funny
that he brings that. It's really funny to the stuttering, but
it's funny that he brings this up because of the fact that the very first time that I went and saw Dead Serios at concerts, I moved in with my dad when I was 15 years old, and I started. I think I went to my first, like nightclub, like at the Power Station, when I was like 17, I think 17, maybe 18. I don't know, but I remember hearing Sheer Hell, and I recognized Chris instantly. I was like, oh, that's the guy from Tape Deck. And then I hear Sheer Hell, and
yeah, you're probably the guy who inspired that song.
That's what I was thinking.
I love it.
That's what I was thinking at the time.
Yeah, we had that. That was one of our popular tunes at the time, and our drummer and Dead Serios, we both worked together at the tape deck, and that's what the song was about, was dealing with all of the aspects of working retail sales and dealing with people like Will, who would call us and prank call us, every afternoon. And so
and it's funny how the world comes full circle, Yeah. You're at the record store getting prank called by Will, and then one night some idiot at one of your concerts breaks out a real lawnmower, and then years and years later you're on their radio show. It's funny how the world works.
Together on the radio. It's
exactly.
a small world, fellas. So thanks for the inspiration.
No problem. It's a great song, and actually we're going to be playing that song here in a little while. So.
Yeah, remind me to split the royalties with you that we made on the
No problem.
Okay, so what's that? Is it going to be about $1.50?
I'm going to put a check for 4 cents in the mail to you. I'll PayPal you 4 cents tonight.
Yeah, okay, I'll be sure to go to Walmart and pick that up. I'll pick that up on my card.
Oh man! Well, let me just say I'm not going to speak for any of the other knuckleheads, but let me personally apologize for making your life sheer hell.
It was great, man. Those were good times. It was back. It reminded me of some of the days you guys were talking about a little while ago. And playing real guitar and listening to real records, and it's a different world that we live in now. But I didn't realize at the time what a special time that was that we were living through.
Right. Exactly. You really don't realize those things until they're gone. I mean, and it's all fun and games like we were talking earlier, but seriously, it happens that quick. And you're right. Sit there listening to albums. Having a record player, I remember having one of those lunchbox-style 45 record players that you could, just take anywhere with you. Plug it in.
I still do.
I love it, man. And the funny story about me and Will, when we got together and started playing the music together and we were hanging out and realized our dads had been best friends for years and years and years. Well, we hung out all the time. Well, he introduces me to this phenomenal guitar player named Yngwie Malmsteen. But the way he introduced me, and people who've never, that are under the age of 25 will have no idea what I'm talking about. On a record player, you have a couple different speeds on there. Well, he played it
at 78.
On 78. And Yngwie Malmsteen, who's already ridiculous fast, was twice as fast. He chipmunk style a guitar solo. I'm like, what the hell is this? and it's something that these kids will never see, man. I mean, an 8-track tape, a cassette tape. I mean, one thing that was golden to me when I was a kid was my Sony Walkman cassette player.
Oh, sure.
If anybody looked at it the wrong way, look, man, what are you doing? No, this is my lifeblood right here.
Well, those were great times, and I wish I had appreciated it, what we were living through more at the time. But it's fun to look back and talk about it. I've got a great Yngwie story. Well, I'll have to share it with you off there privately sometime. Absolutely. But I've got we opened for Yngwie. I don't know if that's
Chicken.
No, we were at Janie Lane's club in Orlando.
Oh, the Sunset Strip.
The Sunset Strip is Dead Serios and Yngwie Malmsteen. And anybody who ever came anywhere near Yngwie usually walked away with a really good, unique, compelling Yngwie story. And,
yes, we had one of those a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
If you were listening, and it was not a very nice story at all.
No, they usually aren't, and we just thought it was our rite of passage, opening for him, that we were not going to leave the club that night till we walked out with at least a fistful of awesome Yngwie stories, and we were certainly successful in that endeavor.
Nice.
Well, Chris, were you listening to the show a few weeks back when we had the punk band, the Antagonizers, on?
I thought that was the week, wasn't that the week?
That was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
thought, wasn't that the week that your signal crashed or something?
Yeah,
I believe
that
so.
was it. Oh, so you. We came back after that.
I started with you at the beginning of the show, and then you got knocked off the air, and then I wasn't able to reconnect after that.
Oh, okay. Well, oh man, they had a
spout with Yngwie that was horrible.
Well,
but
let's just say that what you were saying about most people. Would you also say that most people come away from Yngwie Malmsteen with a sour taste in their mouth? Would that be an accurate statement?
Yeah.
Well put.
That night Yngwie had the sour taste in his mouth.
Yeah. One of the members of the band was trying to talk with him and hang out, and he ordered this guy to go get him a pizza. Well, he brought him a pizza, but it had special sauce on it.
Oh, no.
It's horrible.
Yeah, but Yngwie had, I don't know how he is these days, but back in those days, he had a certain ability to bring that out of people, He inspired that.
Thunder,
he played at the power station. I'm sorry? He played at the power station. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there's background noise coming out of it.
Okay.
What's the question, Thunder?
Anyway, no. One night we saw Yngwie at the power station.
Yeah.
In Melbourne, and he was on his way out of the club, and just look at him and say, "Hey, nice show," and he was just total arrogant, and look at you like whatever, didn't even say a word, just walked off.
Yeah, in most of, if not all of my personal Yngwie stories would require me to use the kind of language that I don't use anymore. So,
I understand it.
I'll take the high road and say I perfectly understand the motive behind the secret sauce.
Well, I just want to let you know, and for everybody out there listening, no matter how famous we get, we'll never act like that. We're right there for you guys.
And we'll never secret sauce anybody's pizza either.
No. And don't do ours either. Come on,
call a guy at the record store.
That's if they had record stores anymore, we'd be still doing it.
Yeah, right.
No, because once I moved in with my dad, I kind of got a life.
Yes.
Well, that's one of the subjects that I touch on in my new book, Shout It Out Loud. There's a chapter called Culture Clash, and
you got a new book
touch
out?
on. Yeah, I touch on
it.
I touch on this exact sort of subject, the way times have changed, and discuss a lot specifically about the record stores, and how that was a wonderful time and a great place to grow up and connect. It was a sort of a cultural mecca, and you could connect with like-minded people, and it was just a great place to meet people that you could relate to and so on, and we kind of missed them today,
Exactly, which, there was such a sad attempt to try and recreate it with that FYI kind of atmosphere, which,
FYE.
FYE, whatever it is. FYI for your information. My bad. But, yeah, they tried to kind of resurge that whole kind of feeling thing, but it's just not the same. Right. It's not a hole-in-the-wall hometown record store. It's not your buddy.
FYE is to a real record store what Taco Bell is to a real Mexican restaurant.
Absolutely.
It's.
You used to be able to go into the real record stores, the independently owned record stores, which back in the day the majority of them were. They were responsible for getting the local music out. they weren't really responsible for it. They just did it because
that in college radio, which you don't see anymore either. I mean,
right. Well, you do. It's just
we've all three turned into our fathers.
I hate it.
That's some compelling, edgy radio we got going on here right now.
Exactly.
You're the kids tuning out at a deafening pace.
Well, do you hear my hover round charging up right now? I hope the humming isn't too loud from this battery charger. I'm gonna have to get back into the house somehow.
Well, you gotta know what to expect from a radio show that starts out with Spinal Tap references at the top of the show.
Exactly. Well, you know what? That's who we are, and we love it.
And that's why I
no other
tune
way.
into you guys. That's why I tune in.
Actually, a few weeks back, we had this band on called Switchblade Serenade, and they were like 18, and 21, and they knew all about Spinal Tap. They knew all about like Guns N' Roses, and they.
Yes.
I mean, they were incredible.
Humanity again.
They were
I heard that show. That was the day I received the copy of the new Paul Stanley book. And so I spent the night reading my Paul Stanley book and listening to that particular show. Those guys were great.
Yeah, they were great guests. They were, they were on. I mean, they sounded like they had been doing it for years, and they're just, but
Will, it's kind of humbling right now. As much praise as Chris you give us, man, I really appreciate that, because I remember the times where, I mean, it was the Versus right there. I mean, you were my secret, indulgence. I loved going to see Dead Serios. I mean, when you guys were playing at the pub in Cocoa Beach, or you were playing,
there was nothing secret about it. Like, hey, we're going to go see Dead Serios. You want to come?
But you know what I mean? I mean, that was what I mean. You guys were that good and that much fun to go see and entertaining, and for you to find us that entertaining and throw it out there, I really, truly appreciate that.
Well, the difference is Dead Serious was calculated, and you two just don't know any better.
No, we don't. The worst out of the situation is we don't care. I mean, we just go, all right, look here. I call him at 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock, like, what are we talking about tonight? I have no idea. Here's our guest. Have fun with it. And we do. We have fun with it.
There's a lot more honest integrity in what you guys are doing, I'll tell you that.
Well, you see, last week
real.
Thunder called me about 8 o'clock, and he says, "Dad, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the show tonight. Could you get somebody?"
Wait a second. Stop. How did he say it?
Well, basically, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the show tonight.
You deepen your voice more. You got to deepen your voice, make it more scratchy.
Okay, hold on.
You got to sound like the guy from
the show tonight.
You may have a second career, Will, out in Vegas. You can do warm up for Rich Little.
And nobody knows who Rich Little is anymore. God, I love him. I think impersonators. I think that's a lost art.
Yeah, along with Spinal Tap, let's get into a deep dialogue on Rich Little tonight. And while you're at it, we can get into Connie Stevens too a little bit later on if you really.
We've already got Casey Kasem. We've got Rich Little now. I mean, we can pick up anybody. Look, we'll talk about Thomas Jefferson. Let's keep going further back.
And if you
I got stories about Columbus.
Thomas Jefferson and Columbus. They hooked up and they did a one night stand. I mean, Thomas Jefferson had a Gibson Les Paul and
I don't know where that was going, but okay.
Coming into the next break, maybe you could cue up something from Paul Anka.
Now they're wondering the 5 people that are listening. They're wondering, they want to hear Sheer Hell more than likely.
Yeah. I'm sure.
All right. Well, I was just trying to ride that old school wave.
I'm excited about what's happening with Dead Serious these days. I live in North Carolina, and I'm going to do whatever I can. I mean, that being in Florida, the last weekend of September, that is a number one priority for that weekend. I got to be there for that show.
And I too.
The last few months in the Dead Serious world has been pretty crazy. You know, I mean, I started the band in the mid '80s, and we rode that wave for as long as we could. And guys like you would come out and see us and support us, and all sorts of crazy stories. And playing with Yngwie and all these different national acts that we toured with and performed with, and we rode that wave. And then probably the last 15 years or so, we've all moved on to other things, and we'll get together maybe once a year, once every other year or so, and do a little reunion show. And we haven't played.
It's under. Will you check your mic, please?
Somebody being strangled?
That's what it sounded like.
And at this point, we've. I was content to just let it go. We haven't played live in probably 3 years. It's just time to put that to rest. And then out of the clear blue, over this past holiday season, I was approached by a couple of producers out of Cocoa Beach, who were young guys who used to come to our matinee shows back in the day, and now they're grown up and they've got an indie record label called Ghoul Tone Records, and they invited me to Starbucks for coffee and pitched me with this idea. They wanted to do a Dead Serious tribute album, and I said, well, heck, this has got disaster just written all over it, and next thing I knew, stuff was popping up on Facebook, and bands, local bands, regional bands, even national guys were like popping out of the woodwork wanting to get in on this Dead Serious tribute album, which just it blew my mind. And so then I spoke with the guys at this record label, and I said, well, let's hold off till after the first of the year. Let's put it out January 2015, and that'll coincide with our 30th anniversary. Well, then next thing I know, the phone starts ringing, and with major venues in the area that are interested in bringing us in to do a 30th anniversary show. So we're talking about a band going from basically being snatched from the jaws of retirement a couple of months ago to having an upcoming tribute album, and we got venues vying to get us for the 30th anniversary concert, and these are large, like small arenas, and before we could even get that far, we were contacted about a week ago or so to perform at a local festival, a 3-day festival here in Melbourne in September called 80s in the Park. And all the big guys from our era are there. You got Faster Pussycat, you got Rat, you got L.A. Guns, you got Great White, all these huge 80s arena bands. And they call up Dead Serious and say, hey, we want to get you guys in on it. So,
right, we want you.
So it's going to be pretty crazy. That last weekend of September, Melbourne, Florida, at Wickham Park, we're playing the first of 3 nights, and it's going to be Enough's Enough, Faster Pussycat, Great White, and Dead Serious. All together on the main stage, and that'll put us in front of a local audience of several thousand, and then it's being transmitted as a closed circuit broadcast that'll put us on a global stage as well.
Is that WME? Is WME doing that?
I know they they play a huge role in what's going on with indie music right now. Who all is signed on, I'm not exactly sure. But WME is a huge a huge co-conspirator here. I know that. And then it's also being shot for a home DVD. So just all this.
You can buy the DVD also.
Yeah. So it's just
that's amazing.
Crazy stuff that's happening for us right now. And I certainly didn't see it coming.
Well, you see, a few months ago, we had Joe Del Corvo, former bass player, Dead Serious, on the show.
He still is the bass player for
the bass player of Dead Serious. Don't say former. They're still together. They're alive and kicking now.
Well, at the time, it was the former. At the time, it was the former.
Yeah. A couple of months ago, we were all former members. Exactly.
That's where I was going with that. And we got talking about there's got to be.
Hey, Will.
Yeah.
I'm just playing with you, dude. I'm just playing with you.
Okay.
Sorry, keep going.
Well,
Thunder. Yes. Do you ever notice Will tends to get really serious sometimes?
I understand that. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm the comedy. I'm the one who gets to play the dumbass role and the comedy role and trying to lighten things up a little bit here.
Not the dumbass.
All right. I'm sorry, Will. No. Anyway, you had Joe Del Corvo on the show.
So tell us your story, Bill. Tell us your story,
Will.
We're sorry. We won't interrupt this time. I know I was there. You don't have to tell me that.
Anyway,
Here's that serious side again. So you were talking to this guy, Joe Del Corvo. You think so? All right, tough guy. You better pack a lunch. As we were saying, Joe Del Corvo, and you were talking. The once former member of Dead Serious.
At the end of the show, or toward the end of the show, Joe was talking seriously. It's like, we've got to get this Dead Serious reunion going and everything. So I'm wondering how much of a part the Will and Thunder show played in the resurgence of Dead Serious.
Of course, it was everything. They already wrote a song about us before any of this happened.
That's right. I forgot.
And if you're not careful, we might write a new one about you, too.
Oh, my goodness. See what you've done now? See what you've done? That's what I tell my kids. See what you did? That's what you did. That's your fault. Thanks. Daddy's got to clean that up. Daddy's got to clean that up now. See what you did? All right. Thanks, Will. I appreciate that.
In all honesty, fellas, you guys actually do play a pretty big part in this. Because even before we were approached about the tribute album, I had actually been contacted even before that, even before the holidays last year. I did probably, 3, 4, 5 radio interviews, and it was all, I'm going on these radio shows to talk about, my books, and every one of these interviews just navigate towards Dead Serious. And then you guys were gracious enough to have me on right about that time as well, and it was just nice to start thinking about some of those possibilities and what the future might, possibly could still look like. And next thing I know, it's just exploding. So, yeah, you guys were definitely a catalyst in that.
Well, on the other aspect right here, talk about your new book real quick.
Before we...
I've only got it to...
Mr.
Okay.
God. Yeah, we brought the man on here to talk.
There. Just give me a second here. I understand that. Just give me a second. Now, I have a question here. Now, I've only read a few pages of your new book so far. I got it today, and I've been starting to read it. And to be honest with you, the intro with the guy that you went on the book signing with.
Yeah.
And it was that right there has gotten me to the point now where I know I'm not going to go to sleep tonight till I read the entire book.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've got my new book. It just came out today, as a matter of fact, just released as a Kindle title on Amazon. It's called Shout It Out Loud, and it is the sequel to my 2012 book, Come On, which we discussed last time I was on the show. And is there a dog that needs to be shot in the back?
Yes, hold on. Look, give me one. I'm in transition of moving house to house right now, and yes, one of my dogs is going crazy in the background. I'm gonna mute this for a second. Chris, carry on. I'm sorry to do this, and I'm gonna handle this, and I'll be right back, guys.
Only on the Will and Thunder show.
Only on the Will and Thunder show do we have a dog in the background going crazy.
Yes. That and a porno, or that and a Jane's Addiction song.
I think.
That's what's going on, actually. What I'm doing is I'm creating a new video for Ben Cost Stealing, and that's the dog I'm using right there.
All right.
So let me go record this real quick, and I'll be right back. All right?
I'll be back in 2 We have a caller on the line.
Okay.
Gonna go ahead and bring him on. Her, him, whatever. Caller, go.
Come on in. What's the phone number?
It's a 321 area code.
Casey Kasem?
321 what?
Calling us tonight?
Well.
You what? Hello?
I just muted him. We'll try back again. Let's go ahead. You go ahead and
why don't we play another Dead Serious song and then I'll go deal with the dog.
We're gonna play a Dead Serious song and whoever's on hold, if you want to talk, push 1.
We'll be right back with you.
Yeah, we'll be right back.
And right now, I'm gonna go pretend to be. I'm gonna go get off this phone. I'm gonna call Caesar, that guy, the dog whisperer. Get this taken care of. All right.
All right, we'll be right back on the Will and Thunder Show. This is Sheer Hell, the song that we were talking about earlier that Chris outed me on about something from my past.
And what I'm going through right now.
They're lining up at our door. I'm 15 minutes late. Today's our sidewalk sale, and the customers can't wait. Some people are friendly. They're more often mean and rude.
Why, you little bastard!
I sold the papers to a deadhead who politely called me dude.
Dude, when I woke up from Woodstock...
Your prices are too high. Consumers often say...
I can get this cheaper in the mall.
I've been standing here for hours on this hectic Saturday.
Go there, you old bag.
No! Working the express lane. No! Got tickets to the rock show. No! Some guy won his last fight. No! Oh! Sheer hell! Bitchy old lady make me want to scream, and the guy who wants a refund is gonna cause a scene.
I'm gonna kick your ass all over the store.
People are so lazy, they only shop while they're at home.
You have any air supply in stock?
We get all the stupid questions on our business telephone.
Hello, Erect Records.
If things are better someplace else, like all the shoppers say,
Man, it's not like this on the home.
let's get their butts to Wally World and do it right away.
Get the hell out!
No! Working the express lane. Got tickets to the rock show. Some guy wants a glass pipe. Oh, sheer hell.
I'm sorry, sir. No exchanges without your receipt. And the manager's not here right now, so we can't give you a refund. But even if he was, even he would tell you to have a nice day.
Welcome back to the Will and Thunder Show. That was Sheer Hell by the legendary Dead Serios. Yeah, and everybody who's worked in retail knows that when you say have a nice day, that's a very polite way of saying something completely different.
Something completely different.
Something completely different and not nearly as polite.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's a classic right there. God bless
that
you.
Is. Yeah, I love that, and to be honest with you, I heard that song before I heard Green Hell by Metallica.
Yeah, we ripped it off.
No, you parodied it. Well, actually, that's not really a parody.
I'm back. I had to put the dog down. I'm sorry.
Did you put it down?
No, yeah. I set it down.
Put that dog down?
It was off the ground, so I set it down.
All right.
Anyway, we're good. Anyway.
You only get this kind of lo-fi quality through the Will and Thunder Show, though. God bless you guys.
Look, we're not looking for hi-fi. Look, hi-fi costs way too much. Lo-fi is what we want right there.
Yeah.
Damn right.
Look, we're the Walmart of radio.
Howard Stern couldn't pay for this kind of entertainment quality right here.
No, he wouldn't.
Well, you know what?
Although he could, but he wouldn't.
You know, I respect Howard Stern for what he did, but I mean, the guy should have retired years ago. I mean, lesbian and fart jokes are only funny for so long, and then
were they funny? I didn't know they were funny the first time.
Well, they might have been funny for about the very first time you heard it when you were maybe 15 or 16 or so.
Yeah, 15 or 16, Fart Man was cool, but you get about 17, you're like, really? Okay. But he made a living at it. He's done well.
Is Howard Stern still on the air?
He's on Sirius
he's still on the air. And on top of that, he's a judge on one of these talent shows.
Oh, that's right. He is. He's like an American Idol or something.
I had TV disconnected from my house 5 years ago, so I couldn't tell you the names of 3 TV shows right now. If you put Thunder's gun to my head, I couldn't tell you what's on TV.
Well, you're not missing much.
Exactly. No, you're not really.
My point.
That's what kind of brought me to that. That's what kind of brought me to that thing earlier with the TV and the UHF with having nothing on. Because my kids now have a remote with 557 million channels. And there's nothing on. I'm like, you have no idea. You have no idea.
Bruce Springsteen said it best back in the 80s when he released a song called 57 Channels, There Ain't Nothing On. And now it's like 5,700 channels, there ain't nothing on.
Right. Yeah, once they canceled Hannah Montana, I had cable yanked out of my house. There was nothing. Then you haven't been subjected to what the sweet and innocent Miley Cyrus is doing these days. I might not have cable, but I am still online. So unfortunately, I get whiffs of what she's up to every now and then.
God bless her.
God bless her.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell us about this book. We've been having fun and everything. It's time to get down and talk about the book, which is also a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun reading it. It was basically it was a really fun read in the sense that you're somebody who might think that going to church and everything is boring. It's not. When it's done the way it's supposed to be, it's not boring. It's really fun.
My church experience and Christ-focused relationship is probably more hardcore, more riveting, more exciting than anything I experienced in my past band days. You know, it's always fun to get on the phone with you guys and talk about the old days and rock and roll and Yngwie and Pantera and all that sort of stuff. That's always a lot of fun. But the fact is, there's stuff out there in life that's even better, even more fulfilling, and for me, even more exciting. You know, and I'm proud to be part of the ministry at East Coast Christian Center in Merritt Island, Florida, and that places me being involved with an amazing youth ministry program. So at almost 52 now, my best friends in the world are 14, 15, 16-year-old kids from the church who definitely keep me young, and we go on trips together, we go on camping adventures together, and it's a riot, and we both have things that we bring to those relationships, and it makes for some compelling stories, which I recount many of those in the new book. You know, it's almost like a rebirth of my youth, hanging out with the kids at church. And from a musical standpoint at East Coast, it's a very very high energy rock and roll based praise and worship ministry. Some of the best, most talented hardcore rock musicians I've ever had the privilege to be connected to over the years are people that are in the live music praise and worship groups at East Coast Christian Center, and it's great music with a great message and great people and great young people who are extremely talented, and it's almost like I've been given a second chance at life, but this time I have the chance to get it right, and through the power and through my relationship with Jesus Christ, I'm able to get it right this time. You know, the kids at the church keep me young, and we have a lot of fun, and the music ministry is exciting and edgy, and has sort of pulled me back into the music aspect of life, and it's all good, you know, and anybody who perceives God or perceives Jesus or a church experience with religion and guilt and condemnation and thou shalt not and all that, those sorts of downers, you're really, as I say in my book, you're buying from the wrong dealer, you know, because if that's not what your church experience or your relationship with Christ should look like. It should be absolutely exciting and outrageous and fun, and that's what it is for me.
Right. And what would you say to people, you know, who might have? And I'm not putting you on the spot here. I'm just asking. I'm being a journalist. What would you say to people who might have read like Come On, or maybe knew you back in the day, and they like, okay, so Chris Long has turned over a new leaf and everything, so all of a sudden Dead Serios is making a resurgence, so you're going back to that, and I know the truth. I read the book and I know your answer, but tell people who might not know what the answer is.
Well, actually, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because it's a very valid point, and I also talk about this a lot in the new book, Shout It Out Loud, and it's not the job that defines your testimony; it's your conduct while you're doing your job. in addition to writing books and being involved in the entertainment business and so on, and being involved in Christian ministry, believe it or not, I'm also still a nightclub DJ. And that if I handle myself differently in that context, that makes it okay. If I go into that situation conducting myself the same way that I used to, well, that contradicts my testimony. But if I go into that situation, if I go into a nightclub situation or a Dead Serious gig, presenting myself as who I am now and remaining true to my Christian testimony, well, then that's just a great opportunity in which to connect to people in the world, Dead Serious music, really, all you really need to do with Dead Serious music, for as heavy as we are, for as aggressive as a band and outrageous and so on as we are, you really only have to alter about 5 or 6 words in an entire show, and it all of a sudden becomes a family-friendly event. Back in the day.
That's something I was going to ask right there. I mean, you got a few songs in there. I remember back in the day, there was some wildness, and not the language wasn't bad in the songs, but a couple songs were a little gratuitous, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely, and to be honest with you, Thunder, the Dead Serious moving into the future, a lot of that material will no longer be part of our presentation. However, the classic stuff, the really iconic stuff that people have really loved over the years, those songs were really, in the day when we were at
the ones that weren't gratuitous were the best songs anyway. Lawn Care Studs.
No More Pipe for Potato Head. I mean,
which is the most iconic, greatest song ever. And I don't know how you guys fathomed and created the Mr. Potato Head that blew the pyro out of the pipe. It was unbelievable.
Our guitar player, Doug Gibson, constructed by hand, built, which is essentially a life-size Mr. Potato Head that we have.
Yeah, it was. It absolutely was.
And he is triggered with a rocket igniter. So during, at one particular point of that song, he shoots anywhere from a 5-foot to a 50-foot flame through his pipe, and it's a great showpiece.
And you guys have a song that's actually a public service announcement, which is one of my favorite songs of all time.
Designated Driver.
Absolutely.
Exactly. Designated Driver was always one of my favorites. And we were doing that one back when we were all kids years ago, and we were all drunk out of our minds and doing all sorts of stupid stuff. But yet, we had a song like Designated Driver. So if we could have scraped the tip of the iceberg back then, I look at Dead Serious as an incredible vehicle in which to really promote a truly great message in 2014.
You were talking in your book right there, and I noticed as I said, I just started getting into the book, and I'm going to finish reading it this evening. But you were talking about, everybody, in a Christian faith, looks at you like, and I do. I work in a bar, but you know what? I'm a dad. I'm a father. I have a wife and everything. I'm not there doing anything wrong. What I'm doing is I'm going to work, and I'm making my money.
Exactly.
Because it's an honest job, doing it the honest way. And people drink. You know what? Jesus turned water into wine. If you're not a slave to it, it's not a sin. But, the point of the matter is, you put it in there, and you go in to do your DJ jobs there, but where are the people that need to hear what you had to say? Where are they? It's nice to have fellowship. Right. It's nice to have fellowship in church. It's nice to be able to speak to God when people already know God. But God's plan is for you to talk to people who don't know God.
Exactly. That that is.
And where you're not finding those people in church.
Nope.
And that's what I loved about that.
That's why I don't really find it that crazy that the whole Dead Serious our whole career, I guess, is sort of going through a resurgence right now because I'm somebody else. Different.
Well, you know what? You were right there for a long time. Right there, you played along with AWOL for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
The ideals are already. I mean, AWOL. I mean,
AWOL was an acronym for At Will of the Lord.
Exactly.
And they were an amazing Cocoa Beach-based group that played with Dead Serious.
Quite a bit.
You could hardly go to a show and get one band
That's
without
it to you guys,
other.
man.
You know?
Exactly.
And
I'll tell you
would
what.
Hang out.
Go ahead.
I'd hang out with those guys and see what they were all about, and was really inspired by the high road that they took in their message and in their music. But I never applied any of it to my own group. You know.
Well, you know what you did. You know what you did. You listened, you realized, and now you're applying it now.
Yeah, everything happens on God's time, you know.
Exactly. Exactly.
And when when I go in and DJ a club, I've been sober for 10 years, you know, and I often will.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. So that aspect of it is not even a factor in my life anymore. I usually have, if not every night, I've got my Bible with me in the DJ booth, and people know that about me. And I can't tell you how many times in the last couple of years, particularly since I've moved forward with ministry, and especially since my books have been coming out, I can't tell you how many people in the nightclub setting have reached out to me for answers, for late answers.
They're at the bottom right there. They're at their lowest place right there.
Exactly. Spiritual.
You know, I remember. I mean, you know, reading your books and hearing you talk about your angel coming to get you and helping you through that time and feeling that cold steel against your wrist, you run the moment of just, you know, saying, you know what, enough's enough.
Yeah. And
you yourself have had your angel, and what you're doing now is you're doing the same thing now. You know, and through
really cool
word, through text, through your ministry. I mean, I applaud you for what you're doing. I mean, you can still live that rock and roll lifestyle like you lived and enjoy what you're doing in God's way. And everybody has to find their own way with God. Yeah, I understand that.
I mentioned it in Shout It Out Loud. Here's a beautiful example of what I'm talking about. It was one night last summer. I'm DJing a club. It's last call. The house lights are coming up. I'm starting to pack up some gear, packing up the laptop and all that. And a gal comes up to me at closing time, and she says, I hate to bother you, but I need to talk to you. She said, I read your book, and you're the only guy I know that I can reach out to. And that's huge. You know, there's a saying in ministry that, you know, we have to really be careful with our conduct and our testimonies and so on, because we may be showing people the only Jesus that they ever see. And so here's a girl in a bar who is dealing with some heavy personal life stuff, and there was one guy in her life she knew she could reach out to,
and
it was that DJ in the nightclub.
That she knew that carried a Bible.
It's a huge opportunity right there. You
see, I was at the opposite end of the spectrum. Back in the early mid '80s, whatever, when Will and I first got together and started playing music together, there was a kid named Mike Dirks that was had a garage, and we all got together. This is where me and Will reconnected from being kids. Yes, Michelle Dirks' brother. Yeah, Pete Brados.
I love Michelle Dirks.
Oh, she's great, man.
Yeah.
But that's where we got our music start. It was me, Mike Dirks, William Telltale right there, and a little kid named Jonathan Goddard, who went to Wayward Side. But anyway,
and then we got Damian Johnson. Damian
Johnson, who was the most amazing drummer I've ever seen in my entire life.
I just talked to Damian
Damian, don't you?
The other day.
Yeah,
he's phenomenal. I'll tell you what, I have nothing but love for that guy.
Damian Johnson did some of the photos in my new book, as a matter of fact. I love
Really?
Damian Johnson. We are still in pretty regular contact.
Speaking of photos, there's a photo of you holding a little girl from it's Nicaragua, Argentina in your book.
Nicaragua.
Yeah.
I will tell you. You know what? I understand what you said when you said, you know what? All my stints in the rock and roll world, looking for ways of feeling whole and I want to be famous. That moment right there where you might have brought Christianity or a bottle of water to that little baby right there, and you see the look in your eyes when you're holding her and the way she's looking at you, it literally took my breath away. I was like, that's making a difference. That's what life is.
Yeah, and shout it out loud. The new book that just came out today, like I said, is the sequel to my book, Come On. But in the 2-year span between those two books, I went on 2 missionary trips to Nicaragua, and those are just life-changing experiences. Kids in the United States, they freak out if you take their Xbox away from them for 2 hours or 20 minutes.
If you don't leave the air conditioner on straight running, you put it on auto for a second, you're like, oh, the air shut off. What's going on here? The air shut off.
Yeah.
Am I going to die? And my kids are like that, and I hate that.
And I am in Nicaragua, and these folks, they don't even have electricity. They barely even have homes. I recount all of this in
dirt floors.
Dirt floors, holes in the walls. You got chickens and pigs and goats coming through their houses, which are not much more than just flimsy wooden frames and visqueen
windbreakers
with some corrugated, tin across the top. And the great thing is the beauty of this, Thunder, is my first missions trip to Nicaragua. I was speaking to, and we always have interpreters and guides with us because of the language barrier. And there's this little old woman that I was visiting with in her house, and it was one of these dilapidated shacks. Right. And she told me, she says, everything we have from Jesus, and we are so grateful. I thought, wow, in America, so often
you'd be mad, and you'd be like, Jesus, come help me. Why don't I have electricity? Why don't I have a bed? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have an Xbox? It's the same thing. We're spoiled here, don't get me wrong, and my kids are the same way. Like, my kids will say, oh, I love Jesus more than anything in the world. And then when I well, what do you pray for? Another Xbox game? I'm like, it's such a difference right there, and it's sad.
Yeah. In Nicaragua, they're just praying for some clean water the next day.
Right.
Or a chicken to eat.
And that's not to play the two cultures against each other. I just think
it's reality.
Interesting to see how little some folks can have, but still have
survive and still have faith in Jesus.
And not only that, but have great faith and be so grateful for so little. Those folks
get a half bag of rice that know they're going to eat that day off that half bag of rice.
I thought we were going to Nicaragua to bless the folks in Nicaragua, when actually I got back home. Every time I go on a missionary trip, I come back and realize we didn't bless them.
It changed you more than it changed them.
They blessed us.
Exactly. You know, and actually, I went, and this was not a missionary trip, but I went on vacation to Jamaica. Mm-hmm. Me and my wife did. And to see the difference in the living styles between you. If you live in the United States, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to drop down right now, praise God for what you have, because you know what? You've got it easiest over anywhere else on this planet. This country will give you and take care of you and anything. But when it comes to...
And basically, the people that live in the worst ghetto shack in the United States, you know, the people that live in Nicaragua probably look at that ghetto shack in the United States
and go like, I want to live there. That's a mansion. Exactly. Yeah. And you know what? There's a comedian out there. His name is Carlos Mencia that kind of put it out there right there. He's like, look, anywhere you go in America, the dirtiest place you can go, the smallest trailer park, you go there, they've got air conditioners in their windows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Anywhere. Small ones, big ones, little ones, air conditioners everywhere.
You know, it's
totally different.
It's an overused term, but people will experience something of the whole is life-changing. When I got Dark Side of the Moon on vinyl, it was life-changing. Let me tell you, going to a different country, a different culture, especially a nation like Nicaragua that
poverty like that.
The poverty over there that Americans can't even imagine. And
you know poverty.
People over there that are so grateful and filled with such faith and are so happy to be alive every day. You talk about a truly life-changing experience. That's it.
Oh, absolutely.
And
I saw a thing where the poverty in America consists of, if you're considered poverty level, you make $32,000 a year, you have two TVs, a car, and air conditioning.
Yeah.
That's considered poverty. You go to some of these countries around the world right here, and, I mean, they'll look at you like, look, I'll switch at you in a heartbeat right now. This is ridiculous. And for you, I mean, and I know what you went through. I mean, you said, you know, with being on tour with the big name band and all that, and you live the high life and driving these, but it's just there's such a difference between where we live right now and there. I don't even know how to explain how I'm feeling right now about that situation right there. That I can see how living the high life, what you thought you wanted to live, versus going there and helping out 10,
and that's exactly
12,
right.
13 kids made you feel so much better.
And you know, we can discuss that here. You know, I toured as an assistant with the group Poison years ago for different periods of time over a number of years, and I thought I had made it. Finally, you know, in my 40s, I thought I had finally hit the big time. I was on tour with this huge worldwide
working with rock stars.
Oh, and being an assistant, if you looked at the band itinerary, assistants were not listed as crew. Assistants were listed as band. So as a personal assistant to the group Poison, I experienced the same perks and privileges, the same hotels, the same masseuses, the same chicks, the same opportunity for the same drugs.
The drugs, the drinks, everything.
On the same tour. You know, here I am on the luxury tour bus and backstage, and I'm going to walk band out on stage in front of 20,000 people. These are the experiences that
you always wanted right there.
I saw how it really is. You know, I don't sit at my warehouse drinking beer talking about what I think it might be like in the big-time world of rock and roll.
You already done it.
I was there.
You were there. You were part of it. Now I have a question here. That picture I saw of you, do you remember holding that little girl I'm talking about?
Yeah, that's my point. All of that rock and roll stuff
means nothing. That little girl meant the world right there.
Suck.
Hey guys,
yeah.
let me interrupt. We've got about 15 minutes left, and I can tell that we're going to go longer, and which we can, Chris. Let's go ahead and break now, and
play a song real quick, and then we'll come back. Hey, look, man, Chris, thank you so much for coming on the show. You're such an intellect, first of all, and what you've gone through. We could talk to you for 10 shows in a row and never get to really know you as well as, you know, as much you have to offer us, man. I love it.
Lots of experiences and lots of stories, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and
do you want
pleasure to.
You want to go to overtime? Is what we call it. You want to go overtime?
I'm following you. I only do what you tell me, Will.
Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and play, Pizza Face, and by Dead Serios.
Love that song too.
That was oh man, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna get into that. We're in a different part of the show, but when we come back, I want to say something about this book.
Do me a favor though, Bill. When we come back, can you talk a little bit? Because I think it was just me and Chris right there for the last hour.
You were going
Chris and Thunder show.
I wouldn't give you a chance. I know. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you were on a roll. You were on a roll there, brother.
I was. Well, you know what?
So it's just, when you're on a roll, I sit back and let you go. When I'm on a roll, you do the same thing. That's how we roll here.
That's right. Well, anyway, this is the Will and Thunder show. We're going to throw you. What? I'm just kidding. I was just trying to trip you up right there. All right, let's go ahead and play the song.
Right, but I do want to say, we now have about 11 minutes left, 11 or 12 minutes left. If you're listening online, you're going to want to call in, once the show ends. That's the only way you're going to be able to hear the overtime segment. The number is 646-716-6135. You call in. Don't press 1 or anything like that. If you just want to listen, after the show ends, you'll be able to hear the overtime feature. However, those of you who are still listening, you'll be able to pick it up on the archive. You'll also be able to, I'll have the show on YouTube sometime tomorrow, and you'll be able to hear the entire show then. We don't go to overtime very often, but when we do, it's for a good reason. It means we've got a really good guest.
Because we have the best guest ever. The best, look, one of the greatest authors of all times, one of the greatest songwriters of all times.
Absolutely.
This is the hiker of the rock and roll Appalachian Trail, Chris Long, with us right now. And we have to go over.
And we're going over, baby. I like
That's
it.
right.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll be right back.
We're going to go over. We'll be right back on the Will and Thunder show. Those of you listening online, call in 646-716-6135 because at the stroke of midnight, the show's going to go away.
All right, Mom.
So call in.
I'll bring my clothes there. All right, Mom.
If you call in, you'll be able to hear the show till the end. If not, you'll have to wait until tomorrow to hear the rest of the show. Anyway, this is Pizza Face. Dead Serios. We'll be right back.
Something I
welcome back to the William Thunder Show. That was Pizza Face by Dead Serious there.
And that was a great song from the epic band William. Dead Serious, I mean. And, yeah,
Will it Dead Serious?
Yeah, Will it is. I did backup vocals on it, or you did, or somebody did. But anyway,
you're gonna make me play a sound effect, aren't you?
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm waiting for it. You ready? Go ahead. It was just a little slip, man. It's no big deal. All right, whatever. Howdy, Bill. Many times you say and I get that. Okay, fine.
Hey, I rag on myself during the intro to the show.
I know. It's okay. Anyway, let's get back to where we were. Anyway, great song, by the way.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
How old is
we
that
had
song?
Our moment.
How old is that song? Because I don't remember ever seeing you guys perform that song.
We had, during our last wave, there probably early 90s, after our peak, we did a record called Face Rake that actually had some of the best songs on there that we had ever done. But unfortunately, the grunge movement had already come in, and we had been sort of shut down and, didn't really have the audience to connect with at that point. So a lot of our best material really wasn't exposed until, some of our, our reunion era,
Right. I'm going to have to disagree with
song.
that. I'm going to have to disagree because the original stuff that really got going right there with like Rosemary's Baby and No More Piper Potato Head, that was awesome. That kind of
there
punk
were some
style.
good ones in there. I'll agree. I'm with you. I'm a Dead Serious fan too. So we were
really.
yeah. Believe it or not.
I thought you'd be more of a critic than a fan, but.
Oh, I can be. I can be that too. Believe me. I recognize the fact that we produce some real world class crap too. But some of those tunes are still fresh and still.
Anybody who's ever been in a band has created world class crap. So, I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway.
Especially, you remember being, the 13, 14, 15-year-old guy that just started the band, and your buddies are like, look, we're going to be rock stars. And the most horrendous sounds came out of that garage.
And you thought it was just like the sound of angels.
Hey, that's what we thought at that moment right there. We had reverb kicking off of the what was the name of that company that had the Pink Panther rolling out the insulation?
Yeah.
You remember those commercials?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. And they're rolling that out, and they're putting 2 and 3 of them over each other because we're playing music right now. Please, God, don't let anybody hear this.
Yeah. But when you're 13, you think it sounds great.
Yeah,
exactly.
And the funny thing about it is when you're a younger teenager, you seem to think that Nails on a Chalkboard sounds just like listening to Hallowed Be Thy Name by Iron Maiden.
Right. My uncle. All right, you ever heard of a band called Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Chris?
Oh, sure. They're older than me.
Absolutely. That's
David
one of the
Clayton
members
Thomas.
of that band. Huh? Yeah, David Clayton Thomas was a singer. Their keyboard player is my uncle.
Richard Halligan.
His name's Richard Halligan.
And
when we first... Exactly.
Yeah.
Father of the Child of Man, Spinning Wheel.
Yeah. They had a string of big hits.
Yeah, it was one of those bands like Chicago with big horns and all that.
Yeah.
Well, my uncle was their keyboard player, piano player, and played a little trombone here and there. Well, when I was 14 years old, and Will and I started our first band. He was in town, so I'm like, come check us out. We rock. Yeah, that went well, didn't it? But anyway, and it was just so funny. And that's when I found out my uncle played Woodstock.
Crazy.
He basically said, we were
you guys suck. Go ahead, keep quiet and
talking about like, have a nice day being a very polite way of saying something much more impolite. Well, he basically said, you guys have got a ways to go, which means you guys
exactly keep quiet, keep practicing, have a fun time using it.
Well, at least he was honest with you, and
True.
There's a lot of value in a knowledgeable, heartfelt.
Oh, absolutely.
I would much rather get a little bit of a sting from somebody who knows what they're talking about, than to be told that I'm doing something great when I'm not.
Let me
and the
interrupt.
funny thing is you see
hold
this
on,
every
let
day.
me interrupt. The show's about to go to overtime. If you want to call in, do it now because you won't be able to, after about a minute. 646-716-6135. Anyway, call in.
So if you're that one caller that's been waiting all night long to call, then time to do is now. Do it now. Hit the number. Put it on a redial.
The show's about to go to overtime, but as far as like listening on air, it's about to go away. But like I said, it'll be in the archives. It'll be on YouTube sometime tomorrow. Anyway, because we're about to disappear for the people listening on air in about 5 seconds.
I'm about to disappear.
Yeah, we're about to disappear. Oh my God. Anyway, getting back to your book.
I thought I was going to be gone right there for a minute, right there. You're like, we're going to disappear.
Damn. Maybe I should whisper the entire show.
Maybe you should. It might help things out here a little bit.
Anyway, we're about to go off the air. It's going to cut us off right now, but that's all right. We're still on, and we'll be able to,
you guys can catch the rest of the stuff out of the archives right there. I mean, we're here. We're not leaving. We're not going nowhere.
Right, and YouTube is a great thing because this show will be on YouTube tomorrow. Anyway, let's get back to the book.
It'll be the first 5-hour episode of the Will and Thunder Show.
We're going to talk all night long right here. Look, I have to get my kids to school by 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's, let me see what time it is right now. Yeah, we got like 3 hours left, so we're good, man.
Starbucks doesn't open till 5, so I've got to occupy my time somehow.
Well, I think we have about 45 minutes of overtime.
Yeah.
I think I have a coffee app I could send to you.
Anyway, let's get back to
there should be an app for that.
One thing when I wrote the review for the book,
which was very nice, by the way. That was I really appreciate that. Yours was the first review. Your review of my new book actually came out a few days before it was released, and there's tremendous value in advance press, Will, and I really appreciate you taking the interest in getting that live on your website. I go to your website all the time. I'm a big fan of your radio show and a big fan of your website, and I appreciate your endorsement.
We're no bigger of a fan of yours in the same way, man. This is your coming out party right here. This is your book coming out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where it starts right here, and it's going to be a bestseller right there. And as soon as people start, they're going to find us because of a little bit of Will and Thunder show right here. And the first person that reads this book, you are such a good storyteller, and you don't leave out the details. You give that grit. You give that little bit that keeps you holding on, that makes you want to read the next page to see what's happening. And
like I said,
it's so good to find someone. All right, go ahead, Will.
Yeah, like I said in my review, Chris Long could take the ingredients of fruit salad and tell you how to make fruit salad, and you'd swear it was the most interesting thing that you had heard.
Absolutely. And I agree with that right there. I mean, when I read your book, come on, it was a 3-hour project right there. I sat there and I did not stop. I was like, okay, I can't stop reading. And it really did affect my life. And I appreciate where you're coming from. And ECC was a big part of my life for a long time. I remember it when it was a movie theater. And that's another, and I remember. Go ahead.
That's another great example of how we can all change as people. Is the fact that my church, East Coast Christian Center, as you mentioned, in the day originally not only was a movie theater, it was a porno movie theater.
That was before my time that I remember.
That building was able to be transformed from something like that into what now is a palace for God. And I
have a question for you real quick.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. I mean, and I've had different opinions on this from pastors and I understand you go to ECC, which actually has an open mind when it comes to God, which, I mean, music is music. And if it is a godly way, it's good music. But a lot of churches kind of look down on the rock and roll style of music. They call it devil music.
Sure. Well, you know,
but ECC has that wild, all right, let's play some guitar.
Yeah. It's very much like what we were talking about a little while ago, and it's not so much the job that defines you, it's your conduct. And it's not the music. It's not music that's evil or ungodly or whatever you want to say. It's what you're doing with it. I mean, I've grown up with music my whole life, and you can look back decades and decades and decades ago to some of those old Andrews Sisters and Frank Sinatra records that probably a lot of church folks, religious type church folks might think is A-okay. You listen to those lyrics, and it's as ungodly, as anything Iron Maiden. It's as ungodly as anything Iron Maiden or Black Sabbath ever did.
Right. So, when he talks about 2 fingers of whiskey, that's 2 fingers of whiskey, and
exactly. So.
I got you.
I think you have to look at the fruit of the ministry,
Now, you've already talked about this already, about changing some words up, and it may take 5 words per song or maybe 10 words. But earlier when we were talking about a certain situation, you said, I'm not going to use these words because I'm a different person now. Now, I remember Dead Serious, and I remember certain songs that were certain ways, and certain situations that the ways of actions or whatever. But anyway, instead of bringing these out right there, so have you altered it enough to where it's going to be the same?
Well, sure, because what I was getting to 6 hours ago when we started this conversation was even in the day at the peak of our popularity, we were doing like Boy Scout jamborees and family picnic settings and so on.
Take Sheer Hell for example. Sheer Hell, for example, like at the end of that, you could have said something else, but even when you played that song live, you would always say, have a nice day. You could have easily said something else, but you didn't. Even in bars, you were just like, have a nice day.
Right. We've got
what I'm talking about is, I mean, as you being a Christian, you had some songs that were more risque.
Right.
You had some props that were a little more risque.
We've got a huge body of work. We've got a huge body of work, and we don't have to do all of the material from back then. I can that I'm no longer comfortable with. I can weed out the material that is going to contradict
offensive
my
to you
testimony, and weed that material out completely. But we still have all of these other tunes that are fine. You know, not only did we used to play with
that's awesome right there. And that's what I was asking right there. I mean, because I respect you as a musician. I respect you as a person. But I respect you on your new journey right there. And I was just wondering how that was going to coincide. Because there was a couple songs right there that, and I could see you not doing because of that. And I respect you for doing that.
And an interesting side note, not only did we used to play with AWOL, Christian rock band back in the old days, we actually played with a lot of national Christian bands. And one was Barren
Cross,
which was, after Stryper, Barren Cross was probably the biggest of the Christian metal bands. And those guys loved Dead Serious. They totally got it. They got the humor aspect of it,
Right. And I wasn't trying to call you out, don't get me wrong here. I just know there's a couple songs there. And you remember the song I'm talking about with the 4-foot-long appendage?
Crazy Bone.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
I was just wondering, and I know where you're at now, and I just wanted to know how that was good.
That's not part of the presentation I want to be connected to anymore.
See, that's what I was asking. I love that. I mean,
was it funny back in the day? Yeah, when we were in our 20s and we were,
right, exactly,
swinging the rubber dildo around and doing stupid songs like that. It was fun then. That it's not who I am now and not part of the presentation that I want to offer.
I was trying to politely ask about that, that aspect of the song.
And you don't even have to be polite with me about it, Thunder. I appreciate the opportunity to discuss any of that.
Well, thank you so much right there, because you know what? And I respect you more than anybody in this, pretty much any more than this planet, because I've lived that, wanted to be that rock and roll style like you've lived, and to come out where you're at right now is unbelievable.
Yeah, we got enough songs about designated driving and boogers and cops, and there's tons of really great sort of iconic Dead Serious stuff. That
one of the iconic songs is, and this is like so, the only song that's like really a departure from what Dead Serious is or was or whatever was Dysfunctional Family, and but the message in that song is powerful.
Yeah, that may be one of the songs that stays in the set, but with a little bit of lyrical augmentation, just because it was a great tune. It was a big message, and sometimes it's not what we say, but how we say it. So I don't want to go out with all these tunes that we used to do with all new lyrics and be a disappointment. I would rather just focus on the stuff that we can still go out and do the way people remembered them.
And on top of that, we really need to talk about your book a little bit. I mean,
we have been.
I understand that. Just give me a second here, man. I mean, this is like the open end. This is the light. It shows from where you were at in a bad place and a good place, and now in a great place right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that right there, it's amazing right there. I mean, Bill and I both have moments there at East Coast Christian Center. I mean, I remember the church growing and starting there and just getting as big as they can right now. And
you guys
it's
should
awesome.
Come down for a weekend sometime, man. You would be amazed at what's going on over there. It's just,
I'm going to tell you something right now. With your intensity and your goals that you have, I've seen everything that you've done your entire life. And you put your heart into this right there, that right there will be the new Jimmy Swaggart right there. You're going to be on TV one day.
Don't insult him like that.
I mean, you know,
it's not boring.
And then don't take that the wrong way. Jimmy Swaggart was a bad thing to some certain people, but you know what? He was showing God to people, but you know what I mean.
He had his good days and bad days.
I know. You understand what I'm saying right there? You right there, you talk about these kids watching you sweep the floors, and who's that guy with the tattoos, and who's that guy with the long hair?
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing. That's one thing that I wanted to touch on about my review of the book. Basically, and that's one thing that impressed me. It's like when after everything that happened with you, when you basically decided, hey, I need a 180-degree turn here. I need help. God help me. And you found East Coast Christian Center, and then and you said, hey, I want to be part of this church, and they handed you a mop.
Yeah.
But that's one thing. That's one thing in my review that I kept coming back to. It's like as like a humbling experience and everything. It's like okay, well, this is the best mop man on the planet, and then they eventually gave you, you eventually won their trust and everything, and they gave you different, different responsibilities and everything, and you excelled in them and everything. But you're still the best mop man on the planet. But my point in that is like that was a humbling experience, and that really had to accrue to everybody, because I'm sure that the people that handed you that mop knew who you were.
Sure.
And God gave them all the hand to him right there. And
but after reading that book, this is one paragraph from my review that I want to read. Basically, on williamtelltale.blogspot.com. Basically, also I have to say, in reading this book, it really does make me want to move back to Florida and join East Coast Christian Center and grab a mop. Everything that he says here is a take on is a take on church that you won't hear in most churches, and that really is a shame. They all should be shouting the word out loud. This will make people want to come to Christ much more than a man in a suit standing up there and lecturing people on about what they are allowed and are not allowed to do. And basically the recurring theme, that was my quote, but basically the recurring theme in this book is it's your relationship with Christ. It's not religion, it's your relationship. Religion
Absolutely.
is what it's
the thing is, here's the thing straight up, if my kids ask me a question about God and I'm not certain about it, I'll give Chris's number.
Look it up.
I can look it up, but I'll give Chris's number. It's a total change. And not a total change. I mean, you were straight up determined about everything you've ever done. And I appreciate where you're at right now, and I appreciate your ideas right now. And you know what? I'm glad that you were happy. I'm glad that you feel not content, but total
happy. Filled.
You're fulfilled. That's the word I'm looking for, fulfilled right there. And that means the world to me right there.
I've been on both sides, I've been on the tour bus and backstage and the hotels and the chicks and all that sort of stuff. I've experienced all of that on the one side, and then I've stood in the midst of absolute poverty, holding a hungry baby in my arms, giving her food and praying for her healing. And I'll take the second over the first.
Over everything, exactly. And that picture of you holding that, I'll never forget her face. I swear to you right now, I swear I'll never forget that face of that little girl.
Yeah.
Square face, big foreheaded, good-looking, beautiful girl. And
that's
right
real
there.
Stuff, man. That's life right there. That is.
And I hate to say this, but you know what? That's the way I live. I mean, I don't hate to say this, but that's the way I live my life. I look at my children like that. I go to work to make sure that they're not that person.
Sure.
And
sure.
You know, and to see someone
and that's what we're doing by going over there, is working to deliver some of those kids.
And there's a difference, but right. And you're not that commercial. You're not the guy with the beard going, send me 15 cents, and you can save a child. No, you're going over and you're doing it.
I'm rolling up my sleeves, as are all the other members of the teams that I go over with. You know, when I go to Nicaragua, it's not me.
Right.
You know, it's anywhere from a 10, 15, 20 person team with people who are more passionate and focused than I am. You know, and I'm
you're a part of it
with them.
There.
Yeah.
You're not sitting here you're not sitting in Cocoa Beach, Florida, with a picture and a credit card going, oh, yeah, 50 cents. I got you. Send me a picture.
Well, I don't know what any of that looks like. I can just speak for what I'm involved with, and it's just a tremendous privilege to be able to help people and to try to bless them and to bring them the message of Jesus Christ. And then the boomerang blessing that we receive in return from that is it's just awesome. And that's Jesus. That's what Jesus looks like right there. Jesus is
I was talking to you earlier about dealing with the people who are not close enough with Jesus. And I think that you have that job right there. You have the ability you live the lifestyle of a lot of people. You're his microphone right now.
I think
I feel that. I feel that in you, that you're his microphone to talk about what you're doing now.
Well, the
and
thing
talk
is,
about what you've been through.
The thing is, I mean, Chris Long is never, anything that he does, he puts 150% into it. And if he believes
absolutely,
it's like if you believe in what you're doing, then it's got like 150% of your effort. And that's what I see you doing with this phase of your life.
Yeah. Well, it's all spelled out, in the last couple of books, Come On, and the new one, Shout It Out Loud, and even for as much as we've sort of jumped around on a lot of different topics tonight, there's all of that and more covered in these books. I think they're engaging, compelling stories, and I appreciate you guys having me on to talk about some of it, and perhaps we'll get together and talk about it again. Sometimes when the three of us get together, we're like old girlfriends from high school, which is sort of.
I can't wait to see you again.
We're yammering, on all sorts of different topics. Before we
honestly, I'm going to do everything I can to get down there for 80s in the park because I really want to see Great White. I mean, Dead Serios.
Come down for 80s in the park.
I'm joking. That was a joke. It was.
We'll do 80s in the park Friday night, and then I'll bring you to church with me on Sunday morning at East Coast before you all head back.
I would love that because you know what? I played at the East Coast.
I think
Me and Will's first band was a Christian band.
Yeah,
and I can tell you how our song sounded. You want to hear how our song sounded?
Yeah. That's what it sounded like.
It was really. Really? You stop me right now? But yeah, no. I mean,
yeah, I'm going to stop you right now. Don't do it.
Go ahead. You know what?
I'm going to mute you.
I'll talk to you later, Chris, about this. I don't want to embarrass him on the radio because we love God. I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding.
I know we jumped around on a lot of stuff tonight, but it's just sort of the tip of the iceberg. Before we lose your last listener on the phone, though, I just wanted to thank you guys for the chance to come out and talk to you about different
Thank you for coming on our show. Thank you for, we did not talk a lot about your new book, but thank you for coming back, man. We love you, man.
Well, same here.
You are the rock and roll guru. If anybody wants to know about rock and roll, Chris Long is the guy you got to look for right here. He knows everything.
For sure, yeah. Right. Okay.
You've been there. You've been there. From the beginnings
that's true.
to the ends.
Listen, it's getting late. You guys have a great night. Thanks for having me out. Say good night to your last listener on the phone there for me.
All right.
All right, man. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for coming in. You have a good one.
All right. Love you, Chris.
I'll be listening next week.
All right, buddy. Love you, man.
See you guys. Love you guys. See ya.
Thank you. All right, that was Chris Long on the Will and Thunder Show. Right now we're going to premiere our outro for the first time, and we will see you next week where our guest is War Drum, a great power rock band from Greece, and they freaking rock. So
all right, guys. So anyways, listen right now. Look, do me a favor right now. Go to YouTube. Look at War Drum. They're a fucking power metal band. They fucking kick ass, dude. Listen to these guys. Call us in next week, man. Come check this shit out, man. Go ahead and play that outro. Let's see how this works out this time.
Wrong one.
The next time, don't even worry about it. Fucking call it a day. Look, next time, we don't have to say we're going to play the extra.
I just pushed
anyway,
Thank you for listening to the Will and Thunder Show. The band that's going to take us out is Beyond the Fade from Charlotte, North Carolina. You can find them at Beyond the Fade at Twitter and also at Facebook, Beyond the Fade. The song's called Lights Out, and they're going to take us out. Thank you for listening to the Will and Thunder Show. We'll be back next week, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern till midnight, with another awesome guest for you. Later.